Hello, viewers. In today's episode, I want to discuss the discipline in the church. I have a question. Can a lay member of the church be disciplined? And how, and the procedure, what could cause the discipline of a member? As well as the clergy, as we all know, from the primate down to the least clergy, who is a deacon, can be subjected to discipline by the church. But what could cause this discipline? If they are subjected to discipline when they go against the code and canons and constitutions of the church, the question is, can a lay member be disciplined by the church? Yes. I would want us to, I'm discussing Church of Nigeria Anglican Communion now. First of all, we have a leader. And in the hierarchy of our leadership reigns from the primate, who is the supreme leader of the church, if I may use that word. And currently we have a very respected, erudite, scholar, humble, and spirit-filled primate in the person of the Most Reverend Dr. Henry Ndokoba, our current primate. He leads the church through the highest organ of the church, which is the General Synod. He is the president of the General Synod, as empowered by the Constitution of the Church and canons of the Church of Nigeria. Thereafter, we have provincial archbishops, and then we have diocesan bishops, and then we have archdeacons, and down to parish priests of different parishes. So ranges their power. But in the Church of Nigeria, it will interest you to know that if a lay member commits an offense in the church, that lay member will be subjected to discipline, so long as that offense was brought to the parish priest. The parish priest will examine it and send it to the church parish council that will look into the matter. If they cannot solve it, it will be reported to the archdeacon. The archdeacon will look into the matter, and if the matter is not well, that if the jurisdiction or powers are beyond the archdeacons to make decisions, he will then refer it to the diocesan bishop. Where the case is so difficult that the diocesan bishop cannot handle it, he takes it to the provincial stage, which is the archbishop. Where the archbishop cannot handle it, he sends it to the primate. And the decision of the primate on ecclesiastical matters are final. Why? If you go to Canon 17 of the Church of Nigeria, page 109, Canon 17, I'm reading from section A. The following shall be the offenses for which a lay member of the church may be disciplined. Sexual immorality. The word sexual immorality is not limited to homosexuality, lesbianism, bisexuality, and all other adultery, fornication, rape, sexual abhorrent behaviors. That is, if a church member is caught in this act, officially reported, there is need for the church member to face disciplinary action. Conduct just cause for scandal or offense, which shall include the commission of any offense known to law or act which may bring the image of the church into disrespect or dispute. Heresy. This one is when a church member commits felony, crime notable crime in the society, like politicians stealing money. And it is known that a politician was caught by EFCC looting money, then the person should go through proper investigation by the church, and if found guilty, should be subjected to discipline. And heresy. If a church member is found preaching false doctrine or proffering false teaching that is not accepted by the church or canon or the canons of the church, that lay member is subjected to discipline. Schism or acceptance of membership in a religious body not in communion with the Church of Nigeria. Now, you cannot be a member of two church. No, you cannot. You cannot be an Anglican at the same time a member, court member, or you belong to another religious body like Ikanka, Ogboni, and so many of them. You cannot be a member of the Anglican Church of Church of Nigeria and still become a member of Ogboni, or religious bodies like some groups that practice religion but is not open for others. You cannot serve two masters in the Anglican Church. Violation of the Constitution, canons, and regulation of the General Synod of the Church of Nigeria or of the Constitution of the diocese. Now, here, you cannot violate this constitution. Any provision of the church constitution that a lay member violates, that lay member is subjected to discipline by the church. And refusal or failure to obey a directive given by the General Synod through the primate or the diocesan bishop pursuant to power conferred by virtue of their relevant position of the Constitution of the Church of Nigeria. Now, this one, if like the General Synod takes a decision and an individual or a group of individuals rises to say, oh, we don't agree to this, they are subject to discipline, and which could include excommunication. So, because that is rebellious, it is someone rebelling against the church. The General Synod in the Anglican Church is the highest decision-making body. And so when they take decision, it is not the primate that makes that decision. Whatever decision the General Synod takes, it is believed that the church made the decision. Because the primate is just an individual, right? And he does not have the monopoly of the power. And so issues of concern, he brings it to the General Synod. And everybody get to put and have their own inputs in the General Synod. And when matters are becoming difficult, there will be a vote. Meanwhile, the General Synod consists of lay members, bishops from dioceses, representatives of the laity from various dioceses, and representatives of the clergy from various dioceses. So when they converge in a particular location, usually it takes 3-4 days. The primate presents his agenda, and his agenda is discussed, and decisions are made, and resolutions are taken, voted upon, and if passed, it becomes a law. And from there, it turns to canon. It becomes a canon. So you cannot go against the canon of the church. So if you do that as a lay member, no matter your office, you will be subjected to discipline. You cannot be a member of a secret court. If you do, you will be violating the oath of office that you took. Meanwhile, before I proceed, I will want to make this known to all Anglicans. If you are an Anglican and you are appointed to serve in any committee or any group, you are meant and you are meant to take an oath of belief, oath of synonical submission, oath of obedience, and oath of canonical obedience. What is this canonical obedience? Brothers, canonical obedience is, like I mentioned, the hierarchies, right? A catechist is subjected to be 100% obedient to his priest. His priest has total ecclesiastical obedience to a canon. The canon is obligated by law and canons to respect and obey the archdeacon. The archdeacon is under canonical discipline and the canons as well to obey the bishop, and the bishop is under canonical obligation to obey his archbishop. The archbishop is under canonical obligation to obey the primate, and the laity is under canonical discipline to obey their clergy and the catechists. Now, all of us, the whole church, owes the primate canonical obedience. That is why when a primate is being instituted, he doesn't take an oath for the people. Let me explain myself. During the presentation of the archbishop of a province, at the gate, it is believed that the Episcopal Synod have elected him duly, and they look at him as an upright person. So once he comes in to be taken to take office, they don't subject him to taking oath to his subjects. No. But he takes an oath to the church that he has come to serve. Okay, now, immediately after his presentation as the archbishop, the whole bishops will come out and take oath of allegiance and obedience, canonical obedience, to him. They will promise to obey him in all things lawful and right. They will all promise to uphold him and accept his ministry. The same thing, immediately the bishops takes that oath, the priest present in that service will represent the rest of the priests, and they will take a canonical oath to the primate, oath of obedience and submission to him. Immediately the laity will be called upon. They take the same oath of obedience and canonical obedience to him. And so now he has the mandate of the whole church. He has a mandate of the whole church. And therefore, every decision taken by the church through him must be obeyed. That is the Anglican Church. Anything short of that is not Anglican Church. Anything short of that is not our belief. That is why if you go to Canon 19, you will see, no one shall be admitted to any office in the Church of Nigeria or shall be entitled to receive any income, emoluments or benefits from or out of any property held under the authority of the General Synod, unless he shall sign a declaration according to the form, if any, prescribed by General Synod, of submission to the regulations of the Church of Nigeria relating to such office, provided that the General Synod may dispense with its requirements in the case of particular offense. The following declaration shall be made before the primate or some persons duly appointed by him, or all bishop elects of the Church of Nigeria, and therefore the bishops by person to be admitted to holy order, and by all priests and deacons to be admitted to any office in the Church of Nigeria. That means all of us takes oath. You see the way the oath is going? You take the oath to your bishop takes the oath to the primate. And that means that from the priests down to the bishop, everybody took an oath to the primate, and the primate to the church. Remember, the church is not an individual. The church is all of us. And if you read that through those oaths, you will see oath of submission. My own emphasis here is oath of submission. Declaration of submission to synod. I do also declare that I consent to be bound by regulations of the diocese, stroke Church of Nigeria, and canons, which have been made or which may hereafter be made by the diocesan Church of Nigeria, or may otherwise have lawful effect in the Church of Nigeria. I do swear by the Almighty God that I will pay true canonical obedience to the Bishop of the diocese, the Primate of Church of Nigeria, and his successors in all things lawful and honest. And I hereby undertake to accept immediately, admit to any sentence depriving me of any or the rights, emoluments, and appurtenances to the office of a deacon, priest, stroke bishop, which may at any time be passed upon me, after due examination by the bishop stroke primate, acting under the constitution of the diocese stroke Church of Nigeria. I agree to exercise the said office of deacon, priest, bishop, so long as may be required of me by the bishop or the primate and his successors, acting under the constitution, so help me God. Amen. Now, brothers, this is really serious. That means including the bishop himself is under oath to obey the church. Now, look at another thing that we have in this canon that I felt I should bring to the notice of our fellow clergy. No person ordained by a foreign bishop or by a bishop not in communion with this church shall be admitted to the office as shall be admitted to officiate as a minister of this church until he shall have complied with the canons of this church, in that case provided, and also shall have subscribed the aforesaid declaration. No person shall be admitted to any office in the Church of Nigeria unless he subscribes to the following declaration before the primate or the bishop of the diocese when required to do so. Renouncing or... So what this basically means is that we are all subjected to taking oath, and the priest cannot transfer from another province or cannot even officiate, not even transfer. A priest cannot officiate from another province to Church of Nigeria or any other church. I mean, if you are moving from Church of Nigeria to Church of England, you will have to take the oath again before the Church of England and go through the process. You cannot fly from Nigeria and start officiating in Church of England without going through due process. Same thing, you cannot move from the Episcopal Church or from ACNA to Church of Nigeria without also going through due process. And that means in the Anglican Church there is discipline. You see, the primate carries a cross. Every other bishop carries a crusade, but the primate carries a cross. And that cross has two crosses. Okay? I'm going to explain the meaning of that cross. The first one, it is called the Patriarchal Cross. Patriarchal Cross. And it is referred to in Church of Nigeria as the Primatial Cross. You see, this cross is an ecclesiastical symbol. The first one on top of it just simply represents the inscription that was put on the cross of Jesus when he was crucified. While the second one is where the arms of Jesus was spread. Now, this was carried in the early centuries by cardinals and archbishops in representation of their office. In representation of their office. That means that is the symbol of authority of a metropolitan and a primate having the authority to oversee other dioceses Another meaning of that two cross is that he oversees his own diocese and has a responsibility of overseeing the entire church. So it is a symbol of his authority. That's why a primate has a power to visit a diocese, whether by invitation or not. He could be invited by your bishop. He could decide to make a stop in your diocese to see how things are going. No other bishop has the right to move from his diocese to another diocese other than the primate. And so it is important that Anglicans will respect the primate of their church because he is the leader of the church at each given time. Remember that God will provide a leader. And so if a lay person decides to lose not, the church can discipline the person in love. What we call discipline is actually bringing you back to correct you. But when the church tries to correct you and you prove difficult, you can be excommunicated. Have you heard of excommunication in the church? Yes. The church will say, don't come again. It sounds funny, right? Or strange. That is the church. Thank you in today's episode. I remain focused.